And so what I've come to appreciate a lot about ProLife Man is, yes, they're focused on unity and they are focused on ending abortion and bringing voice to men, but they also understand the science behind pregnancy, behind emergent situations, because that is their professional career.
This is Christian Gomez with the New American Program, and back with us on the show, frequent guest and friend of the program, Heather Hobbs, pro-life speaker with Save the One. Heather, we're glad to have you back on the program, and also you have some friends with us too as well. Heather, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again, Christian and New American Magazine. Today, I have invited friends to, join the show, and they are literally my favorite pro-life organization right now. They're a relatively new organization. The name of their organization is ProLife Man, and for me, as a pro-life speaker and advocate, one of my main objectives is to help support men help them have a voice in this movement, because for way too long have men been told, no uterus, no opinion, stay out of it, it's not your business. This is a human rights issue. It is not a women's rights issue. And because it is a human rights issue, I feel that men need to have a voice. And these two gentlemen here with us today are absolutely amazing, and they represent men very well. So I'm here to, support them and help their mission, because their mission is my mission. And I'm just really excited for everyone to meet them. Andy, Thomas.
Hi, Heather. How are you?
Hi. Can you tell everybody what you guys are all about?
Yeah, so pretty simple. We have two main missions. The first is to encourage men to be a voice to protect preborn sons and daughters, to speak out against abortion, to not just have their own personal quiet views that they keep to themselves. Maybe there's a lot of pro-life men out there that are silent, but to be vocal and to get involved with the pro-life movement. That's our first objective. Our second objective is to provide counseling and resources for men that are grieving a past abortion, whether they were a part of that decision or they weren't a part of that decision. So those are our two primary missions.
So, Andy and Thomas, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and what led you to join the pro-life movement, and then tell us about ProLife Man and how that organization got started?
Yeah, so Tom, I'll let you go ahead and go first.
Okay. Hi, I'm Thomas White. So I joined the pro-life movement back in 2007. In 2006, I gave my life to Jesus, and he took me through a series of showing me his heart, and showing me his heart specifically on abortion, and how he forms human life in the womb, and abortion kills that human life, and then it just grieves his heart. In 2007, I went to this event called The Call in Nashville. 70,000 Christians gathering together, repenting and worshiping and praying for the end of abortion. And that's when I decided to dedicate my life to ending abortion.
And then for me, I've been a Christian since 2009, and really I've been pro-life my entire life, except being a Christian, I was pro-life except the common exceptions of rape, incest, life of the mother. But otherwise, I was pro-life. And then when I became a Christian in 2009, I became 100% pro-life without exceptions. After reading, the scriptures of God, of how God has formed us in the womb and has a plan for us even before we're born. And so I've been vocal and outspoken about my pro-life beliefs, especially on social media, for over 10 years now. And I used to be very vocal about other political beliefs as well. But a few years ago, I decided to take kind of a year-long sabbatical from posting my political beliefs on social media, because there was some damage in our nation, with the last presidential election, a lot of division in our nation. And I decided that I was going to step back, and I didn't want to play a role in the division causing. And so I was silent on a lot of my political beliefs, but then there was one issue that I felt that I couldn't be silent on, and I had to be outspoken. I had to join social media conversations and give my views and evidence of truth of when life begins. And so I just kind of had this come to Jesus moment of, what am I going to do with my pro-life beliefs? And so I knew, number one, that I needed to no longer be silent. And then number two, I wanted to know what can I do more than just be vocal on social media? What can I do more than just be a keyboard warrior, so to speak? And so I started a Google search, and I started searching for pro-life men's groups. I mean, literally in the Google search bar, I typed pro-life men's group or men's pro-life group, and I searched several different terms for a few hours, and I wasn't really able to find anything. I did know about Knights of Columbus being in existence and that they are a men's group that does pro-life stuff as well. But the fact that I'm not Catholic, I didn't feel that that was the right organization for me. No offense to those that are Catholic or to Knights of Columbus, great organization. But I was looking for something else, and I couldn't find anything after searching for hours on Google. And so then I thought, well, the Google search results aren't working out for me, so I'm just going to start typing website addresses straight into the address bar of organizations that I think might be in existence. So I just start typing random names, and one of those names that I typed was www.prolifeman.com. And when I typed that, I thought for sure when I hit enter, it was going to take me to an already existing website. And when it didn't, I was rather surprised. And so I went, prolifeman.org, prolifeman.net, and, all of them turned up empty. And when I went to prolifeman.com, there was a little ad in the bottom right corner of the web address that said, hey, you can buy this domain for $19 for the year. And so I bought it. And I didn't really know why I bought it, didn't know what I was going to do with it. And I remember coming home and telling my wife that day, I was like, hey, I bought a website. And, her natural reaction was, what'd you do that for? And I was like, I don't know. I just did it because it was cheap enough, so we'll see. And that was really the beginning of Pro-Life Man. Because I was, like I said, I was really shocked that there wasn't already such an organization in existence. I found out that it was required for a nonprofit to have a board. And so around that time of August of 18 is when I approached my friend Tom here, and I asked him if he would join me on this venture of Pro-Life Man. Tom and I have gone to church together for several years, and I've always known him to be very outspoken against abortion and to be pro-life with zero exceptions. And so I knew he was someone that I could trust to bring on board with me.
And Andy, isn't it right that you guys are also medical professionals? I love that you guys are both Christians in sharing your beliefs, but what I find absolutely wonderful is that you guys also know a lot about the medical side, the scientific side of things. And so what I've come to appreciate a lot about Pro-Life Man is, yes, they're focused on unity, and they are focused on ending abortion and bringing voice to men, but they also understand the science behind pregnancy, behind emergent situations, because that is their professional career.
Right, and so our board is comprised of 5 people, 3 men, 2 women. We have we're both EMTs, and our other male board member, he is a registered nurse, and our 2 females, they're both registered nurses. One of them is an OB nurse.
So, Andy, I wanted to ask you and Thomas, why do you think it is that there are so few, or there were, before your organization came around, so few pro-life men activism? It seems to be mostly female on the pro-life side, or even on the pro-abortion side. It seems to be a dialogue of mostly women. So why do you think that is, and how are you trying to get more men to be involved and to speak out where there's been a vacuum, so to speak, of silence?
Yeah, so I think that the reason there's not too many men out there is that our culture and our media have successfully silenced men with the lie of, my body, my choice, no uterus, no opinion. And before I became a Christian, I felt the same way. I felt that I was pro-life. I believed it was a baby inside of the womb, but, I didn't want to force my views on a woman. I believed that lie, and I followed in tow with that. And I think a lot of men are like that, and that's why most men aren't out there involved in the pro-life movement. Statistically speaking, the number of pro-life men and pro-life women is almost the same as far as percentage of the population. When you poll men and say, are you pro-life or not, and then you poll women, are you pro-life or not, the numbers are near identical. There's a few more men that are pro-choice, that self-identify as pro-choice, but there's not really a big statistical difference. And yet, to your point, the pro-life movement is at least 80% women, if not more. And so the reason I think that there's that difference is culture has been successful, and the media and really even Planned Parenthood have all been successful in their campaign to silence men on this issue.
Andy and Thomas, what sort of activities does ProLife Man have planned for 2020 and beyond in terms of any sort of campaigns or activism that to create greater awareness and to bring men into the fold of the pro-life discussion?
We're going to host a banquet for Father's Day. It's going to be the Saturday before Father's Day. Men are fathers. They become fathers when they conceive a child. So we're going to host a banquet, and we're just going to speak to men, and we're going to encourage them to stand up against abortion, the killing of their own children.
Where's that banquet going to be held? Are there any details as to city or state or anything like that?
So those details are still being figured out at the moment. It's going to be Southeast Michigan, probably somewhere, or maybe even Northwest Ohio. So we're still working on a venue in the exact city, but somewhere in the region of Southeast Michigan.
Also, I noticed on the activities, you have some programs from your 2019 annual report mentioned Operation Clipper and Fort Hope. Can you tell us a little bit about what those two initiatives of Pro-Life Man are?
Yeah, so Operation Clipper I named after a very important Allied operation back in World War II. After we successfully liberated France during World War II, there's this what was referred to as the German West Wall, where they built up defenses to stop the Allies from breaking into Germany. And there was one particular Allied operation called Operation Clipper, where that was really the beginning of the Allies breaking into the Western Wall and breaking into Germany. And so I liked to use that as an analogy for what we're doing. And so Operation Clipper is a primarily video campaign where we're going to start producing several different videos where in each video we tackle one particular pro-choice or pro-abortion myth or lie. And so our first video that we just got done filming just a couple days ago, actually, it tackles the myth that we aren't pro-life, we're just pro-birth, that we don't care about the babies after they're born. And so we take these videos 4 to 5 minutes each in length, and we just successfully and in detail tackle that one particular myth or lie. So that's Operation Clipper. And then our second initiative that isn't up and running yet is called Fort Hope. And, I had already been going with Pro-Life Man for probably about 8 months when I felt that God was leading me, that our organization was going to need to provide counseling and resources for men grieving abortion. And, I woke up the next day after feeling that, and I thought, that doesn't really make sense. I'm not a counselor. I'm not exactly skilled in that or talented in that. And so I wasn't sure if that was the direction that we were going to go. And then lo and behold, a couple hours later that day, a local crisis pregnancy center ended up calling me and saying, hey, we've been counseling a woman who's post-abortive, and her husband just walked in the door and said he's seen such a positive impact on her life that the counseling has done that now he wants counseling. And the pregnancy center said, hey, we're more than willing to counsel him, but we just thought if you guys provide this service, we'd rather you do it. And, so they said, do you provide this service? And I just kind of smiled and said, not yet, but we're working on it. And that was God's confirmation to me. And then in the next couple of days leading that or following that, I also had some more people reach out to me, email me, asking if we provided counseling for men. So that was really the first time it was on my radar that this is even a need. And then, of course, as I started to notice and started to look in that direction, I see not only is it a minor need, it's actually a major need. There are so many men that
Absolutely.
are negatively impacted. Yeah, so many men negatively impacted by abortion. I mean, there's been plenty of studies on how it negatively impacts women, particularly in the area of mental health. And there's been some more recent studies that say, the same way it negatively impacts women, it's also impacting the fathers in those same negative ways. So we don't currently have the financing or the funds to provide that. We don't have that program up and running right now. But that is a goal of ours in 2020 to get that up and running, kind of an on-demand thing where a guy is just, having a hard time, and maybe he recognizes that he's still dealing with post-abortion grief, and he's able to email us or call us, and get a hold of a trained and licensed counselor that is on staff with us, and they're able to assist him, right away. There's going to be kind of two phases to Fort Hope. There's going to be the kind of on-demand call in to our hotline and someone will answer and help you. And there's also going to be a more longer-term thing. We're partnering with, if you've ever heard of Surrendering the Secret, by author Patricia Layton. She's been doing this ministry, Surrendering the Secret, for over 25 years now. And her program is an 8-week-long Bible study where she trains leaders across the entire country, and those leaders will then disciple a woman that's grieving an abortion through an 8-week-long Bible study. So we're going to partner with her and develop the men's version of that. So it'll be two phases. One, the short-term, immediate, I need help now. And then two, if there's a leader in your area, get connected with the leader and do an 8-week-long meeting sessions to help you recover from
Andy
this grief.
and Tom, I have a quick question. Where would viewers go if they would like to volunteer their services, say someone who is a counselor or a doctor of psychiatry? Where could they contact you to say, hey, I want to volunteer, I want to help these men?
Yeah, great question, Heather. So on our website, ProLifeMan.org, there is a contact form on there, or they can email us, and our email address is info@ProLifeMan.org. Again, that's info@ProLifeMan.org. And they can let us know through that email that they want to get involved, and then we can start a conversation and go from there.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Heather, for the time on the program. We hope to have you, all of you guys, on again in the future to give us more updates about ProLife Man and the work that you're all doing. Thank you, Heather, again for joining us as well on the program. And for those of you watching, remember to check out heatherhobbs.org, also ProLifeMan.org, and of course follow us on thenewamerican.com as well and YouTube. So thank you all. Take care and God bless.